Hey, I'm Callum from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and this is the handover on the Auto Trail Tracker LB, which is a brand new 2021 model. So as we start our walk around on the driver's side of the vehicle, you've got your mains hookup point here, so this is a connectivity point, so you'd get your hookup lead, lift the collar and just slide on here. Hook the vehicle up first, then your sight, as we don't want you walking around with the live lead and do it in reverse when unhooking. Below you've got a water dump, which is you just pull, and this is your fresh water dump here. So in the winter it's very important that you drain your fresh water off, so you would drain your fresh here and your waste is further back. Locker in there so you can put storage. Mains water, so this is your fresh water filler. It's your main fresh water tank, so you get a hose pipe, put a hose pipe in there and fill it until it overflows. Buy yourself a hose pipe and some hose ends, as just a brass tap on most sites. Failing that, and if you did want to fill from an aqua roll or a bucket, you'd put your hose into there from your submersible pump, your pins, which is your power, and you pump into the bucket. You turn tank fill on in the settings on the main control panel, and it will fill if you can't get a hose to the vehicle. You've got your external cold water feed shower point, so you just connect your shower hose into there and you've got a trigger, turn the pump on and you can hose your bikes and boots down. Then at the back underneath this wheel is your waste water. So this is just the water we've tested the vehicle with. And then you just, again, you drive over a gully on the way out of a site called the motorhome service pitch, and you dump that. You've got your truma vent here, so just do be careful, it can get hot, and make sure it's not obstructed by anything. You've got your space there, obviously your boiler's in there, you've got your hookup lead, and you've got a bit of storage, so underneath there gets lovely and warm with the boiler when it's on. And then coming around the back of the vehicle, you've got your high level brake light and reversing camera, and then you've got your fuel bike rack bar. So there's one here and one just on top of the number plate there behind it, and this is where a bike rack would be fitted, as its body has been strengthened in that part. Coming around to the passenger side, you've got another door for your garage. Obviously all the lockers open with the round-headed key, and then you've got a key for your water. So push them in, make sure the blade's closed on the cassette, and you'll be able to take the cassette out by lifting the handle, slide it out. It's got some wheels on there so you can drag it around the site, and then empty, you go your waste disposal pipe, which is normally behind or beside your toilet block. Take this cap off, which acts as your measuring cap when you're putting your liquid back in later on. Press the button, tip it up, and it'll empty. Once you've emptied it, if you put some water back in the spout, put the lid back on, give it a shake and tip out again. And then, like I said, a cap full of chemical into here if you're using the liquid, and it's good to go back into the vehicle. If you're using the tablets, what you can do is you can open, put a pint of water in here, and then you can drop a tablet straight into the cassette. You can either drop it down into the cassette or down the toilet by opening the blade. It's the same way. And then that just pushes back in and clips in. You've got your external gas point, so there's a spigot on there. Unclip that, clip that into there. You need to put on some gas hosing and put a Jubilee clip round it, and then obviously Jubilee clip it to your Caddock or your external gas barbecue or heater, and then you can turn on and off here, and that'll work off the main bottles on board, so you don't have to carry a spare bottle to power your Caddock. You've got your awning light and your fridge vents, and then if you just lift this up, this is your LPG, liquid petroleum gas. This is where your gas lives. And in here, you can fold that down to get your bottles in and out. You get two 60 kilogram propane bottles on. You need a gas spanner or adjustable wrench, and it's a left hand thread, and tighten, turn on and off at the top of the bottle. Once you've turned it on, if you just press the black button for about 3 to 6 seconds, it allows the gas through the crash valve and into the vehicle. If this yellow nib pops out, just pop that back in. That's just your crash valve on your regulator. And always make sure your bottle's turned off when travelling and is strapped in by the straps provided. Coming in the passenger door, this is where you'll find your diesel filler, which opens with the main ignition key, and you can fill with diesel. And then underneath, because it's a new Euro 6 diesel engine, it's got AdBlue. So this is a 19 litre tank. You'll get an exhaust light between the temperature and fuel gauge, which indicates that you do need to top it up. Once you've topped it up, it'll do about 4,000 to 5,000 miles on a full tank of AdBlue. But you can top up from the drums, from the service stations, or you can buy it on the pump now. But do make sure that you top it up. Failing that, it will go into limp mode, and if it goes completely dry, it will not start. You've got your tyre pressures here, so 5.5 bar all round, which is 79.5 psi. And then underneath the seat, you do have your toolkit. So this has got a jackknip brace and a torn iron. Underneath the floor, underneath this panel, is where your engine battery lives, and your bonnet release is just on the side there. So we'll have a quick look underneath the bonnet, show you all the things you need to know. So you do have all your fluids this side. So you've got your screen wash, which is the one right beside the driver's door. This lifts off and gives you coolant and power steering fluid. You've got your brake fluid, you've got your oil filler and dipstick, paint code for the Grigio aluminium, which is 611, earth for a jump start, and then your positive would just go into here for giving or receiving one. 3.5 ton gross vehicle weight, 4,750 if you were to fit a tow bar and tow, and then you've got your front and back axle weights. But you go off this plate now, as it has a second stage conversion by Auto Trail. So now inside the vehicle, just beside your habitation door, you have your main 12 volt control panel. So if you hooked up, you'll get this little electricity symbol here. It'll tell you the external and internal temperatures of the vehicle and outside. And then you can press this button here, which will either give you 12 volt if you're not hooked up, and if you are hooked up, you'll get 240 volt. Got your pump underneath, so you turn this on to use any water appliance. Obviously make sure you've got enough water in the tanks first before you use this, otherwise you can burn the pump out. You've got your water levels, so there you see you've got 50% fresh in the tank and 25% waste. And at the bottom you've got your battery levels, so you've got your leisure, your vehicle. Your active battery is always the leisure battery, which is saying 1.1 amp is coming off the battery as the vehicle is in use. You've got your mains current of 11.6 amp coming in, and your solar panel of 0.9 amp. Do take in mind that the solar panel will go to sleep when you are hooked up, as this is a bigger current coming into the vehicle than the solar panel can provide as you're plugged into mains. Going back to the house in the middle takes you back to the home screen, and on this side you've got your internal lights inside the vehicle, which you can then control by the switches. You've got your awning light, and you've got your dimming switch, so you can dim the lights in the front lounge. And then on the spanner here, you can go into the settings. So they'll say active battery. You always want that to be on leisure, not smart. Take the smart side off. Active battery is always the battery that runs the motorhome side. You do not want that to be the vehicle battery, as it can flatten the engine battery and you'll not be starting up. And then the solar, you can have that on vehicle or leisure, or you can put on smart. And what smart does, it analyzes both batteries. Whichever charge is needed, it sends it to that battery. You've got tank fill, so if you can't fill from a hose pipe and you want to fill from an aqua roll like a caravan or a drum bucket, you put your submersible pump in there, turn the tank fill on, and that'll send power to the water filling source outside on the vehicle. And then on this side you've got your tank heaters, so if it's going to potentially freeze overnight, if you just put them on, it'll put current through the water and stop the water from freezing. You can go further into it and go into your lighting settings, your screen settings and your date and time. Across from it you've got your Truma digital control panel. So you press and hold to turn it on, and then you press to enter. And as you can see, you have a motorhome in the far left hand corner with the thermometer in that's flashing. And you can have all the way to 30 degrees, or you can have all the way down to off. So for this we'll just say 30 degrees, we'll get the heating working, and then we'll press enter, which is set that at 30 degrees. And the next one in is your water. So if you've got no water, you'd have it on off. Eco is equivalent to 40 degrees, hot's equivalent to 60 degrees, and boost will turn off your heating. Make sure your water gets a temperature, and then you can turn your heating back on. For this we'll just say hot, it'll get the water up to temperature. And then moving further along, you've got your energy source. So you've got gas on its own if you're wild camping and you weren't hooked up. You've got a mixture of 1 kilowatt of electric and gas. A mixture of 2 kilowatts of electric and gas. You'd use this more in the winter if it's really cold and you're desperate for water, you're desperate to get the vehicle to temperature. Use this. Give it about 20 minutes on that, and then you'll be turning your gas off and going to just electric. But that'll double the source of both power, and it should get the vehicle to temperature a lot quicker than electric on its own. Then you've got electric on 1 kilowatt and electric on 2. You'd use electric on 2 on most sites within the UK, but if you were tripping the power out, you may have to turn to electric on 1, but you'd normally use this more abroad. So for this we'll just say mix 2. And then you've got your fan speed, so it's just your 12 volt fan. So if you're wild camping, you'd have it on eco, it takes a smaller feed of 12 volt, and then you can use it on high if you are hooked up, or boost, and it'll just boost. It'll make the fans quicker and blow it round the van a bit quicker. But for this we'll just say high. Come down to the left bottom corner, you've got a timer, so you can time the heating to come on and off. You've got a clock that's displayed on the main control panel, and should you get a warning triangle in the middle, if you just go to the spanner setting there, go to reset, press on it, it'll say preset, press again, and then it will reset the control panel, and you'll have to go back in and set the temperature, the water, the energy source and the fan speed again. Below you've got your TV. So to operate your TV, you turn on and off. It's 12 volt, it's an Avtex TV on Freeview, and then you'd press AQT, which is this big orange button. If you press and hold, it'll start doing an auto tune and find as many channels as it can in your area. Failing that, it does have HDMI in the side, so you can put a Fire Stick or a Smart Stick in there. But it'll do a search, find as many channels as it can, and then that's you good to go on Freeview TV. To operate your front drop down bed, it's all controlled off this switch here, so you would make sure the key was on, which is in the horizontal position. You'll be able to push up and pull down like so, so it'll go all the way up. You do have to remove these head restraints, which are just these ones here, which just clip on there on Velcro on both sides. As you can see, the locker goes down to just on top of the cushion there, so do remove your head restraints. And then you've got this bungee cord here, which just clips on to this side here and pulls the fabric away from the mechanism at the back so it doesn't get caught. You'll have on both sides, as you can see from the clips, a safety rail should you put children in the front beds, and then you've got a little rocker switch up here for a light. And you just press and this would just store away. Max load for this is 200 kilograms. And then you've got storage underneath here, but do just be careful with how much storage you put in here. Max load's 3 kilograms in both of these cupboards, just because of the bed. And then in here you've got your relays for your bed, and down there you've got a 15 amp resettable fuse. So there's a little black nib on the end of the fuse, and should the bed click and then the buttons not work, what you can do is you can just press the nib here and it'll reset the fuse, which then would reset the motor to take the bed up or down. So to operate your Fetford slimline fridge with freezer compartment, you turn on and off here, so just press and hold, and then what you do is it shows you the energy source where our mains there. So if you press the square button in the middle, then start flashing, and you can use the arrows to move it back. So A stands for automatic energy selection, and the brain of the fridge picks out what source you have available and what is the best source to run on. So at the moment we're hooked up and we've got the gas open, but it's automatically went to hook up. So automatic energy selection, hook up is the plug, so you're not wasting your gas. You're on 240 volts via your hookup lead. But and then if I was to take the hookup out, it would switch over to gas and self-ignite. If I was then to start the engine, it would switch over to the battery. And the battery is designed to hold the temperature it was previously set at. So don't expect to put your shopping in and expect to drive 2 hours and your fridge to be absolutely freezing. That's not going to be the case. It needs to be pre-chilled before you put your shopping in. So if you're lucky enough to keep it at home, I'd hook it up the night before or the day before, put your shopping in the night before, and then allow it all to chill overnight. And then when you get up the next morning, turn the engine on, you start travelling, your shopping should be nice and fresh. Or if you don't want to use automatic, you can manually do it by pressing the square button and moving along. So you've got hookup, battery, 12 volt off the alternator, and gas. Please do take in mind with the automatic setting, it's programmed to wait 20 minutes before lighting on gas once you've turned the engine off. This is a safety feature because if you left your gas open and you were to pull in for diesel, fill the vehicle up, and the fridge was to start sparking in the petrol station, that isn't a good thing. So if it was failing for 20 minutes, you just move it over to gas manually, set it away, and then give it 20 minutes, then you can change it back to automatic. That's if you are wild camping. Obviously by pressing and holding, you can also press the source and then it'll give you the temperature, so you can go up or down and put what temperature you want on there as well. Turn on and off from this button. And then once you've finished with the fridge for the season, you're packing it away for the winter, empty it out, give it a clean, and then if you just pull this little nib out, stops it from shutting, and air circulates in and out the fridge. To the side of the fridge is where your fold away table lives, which you can put at the front or take outside. It's just like putting an ironing board up. Above here you've got your telly booster at the back, so on the black wheel there you'll be able to min and max your signal as it's a fixed aerial. And then you've got your Wi-Fi system. So this one's fitted with a 4G Wi-Fi system, and what it is there's an antenna on the roof, so it boosts your signal. So if you've got a good 4G signal, you'll get an even better 4G signal. You'd press and hold and turn on. You need to put it comes with a pay-as-you-go SIM, but to be honest with you, they're not very good. They've got no data on to start with. What I'd do is I'd go to your phone provider who you've got your pay monthly phones with and say you need a data only SIM card. And what you do is you take the back off, lift the battery up. So if you lift the battery out there, SIMs go in here, and then your code is on the bottom there, which is unique to each device. Underneath your fridge you've got your gas taps, which are here. Any problems with gas, turn the bottle off to be safe. These are mainly for when the vehicle is habitation serviced, when the technician checks that the gas is working to the standards set by the National Caravan Council. So now in the kitchen area you've got 3 gas rings, 1 electric hot plate which only works when you're hooked up. So your electric hot plate's this side, so do just make sure that you haven't knocked it when you've been packing the van and then you've hooked up, because it will get warm and it will shatter the glass. So do make sure that's turned off, which will only work when you are hooked up. And there's all your gas rings lit there. So you've got 3 gas rings, 1 electric hot plate. Allow it to cool before you put the cooker hood down. And then below you do have your grill. And then below you have your oven. With the oven shelf, always make sure the lugs are at the back of the oven, as this is designed to stop the burner from being blocked when you are cooking. And then you've got your grill pan there. Make sure that you can take these out when traveling, as they do start rattling, or you may want to wrap them up. Underneath, you've got your plug for your hot plate, you've got your water pump, and this is very important. This is your boiler drain down toggle. So when winterizing the vehicle, it's very important that you take out all the water that's in the van, because these are just plastic pipes and it can freeze inside these vans. So do make sure that you just lift this up and it'll drain directly out underneath the chassis. Leave the toggle stood up during the time it's in storage. Leave all the taps open, remove your shower head from your shower hose and allow that to lie in the shower tray, and also open the fresh and waste from outside. Otherwise, if you don't and you do get frost damage, it isn't covered under any warranty, and if you break the boiler, it's about £3,000 to repair. So do make sure that you drain it down by standing this toggle up. You've got some storage in here, and then this is a worktop extension, so you just push it in and it'll clip up, and then to put it down you just pull these toggles away, so these levers, but you do have your cutlery drawer in there as well. You've got your tap, it's just showing that your water pump's working, and that's getting nice and warm there with the hot water system being on. Cups and plate rack, and then you've got your isolation plug for your mains microwave. So this only works on mains power, which is just a Russell Hobbs 800-watt microwave. So only when you're on a site or at home and hooked up, you'll be able to use the microwave. So now in the toilet area. So to operate your toilet, you've got to make sure the pump's on and press the blue button. This will give you your electric flush. Always flush the toilet first, then what you need to do is open the blade, which is slide to the right. Do this because the cassette seal is not 100% watertight, so if you're filling it with the blade shut and using it with it shut and then open it after use, water will seep around the cassette and flood the locker below. So what you need to do is flush first, which lubricates the blade, open the blade, use the toilet, flush the toilet, and then slide to the left, which isolates it. You get light on here, which indicates that the cassette is full and needs to be taken out and changed, and obviously make sure the blade's closed to take it out, otherwise that's when it will not move. Toiletry cabinet and a small complimentary bottle of blue chemical. To open your skylight, pull down, pull your weight on it and slide on the rail, and always make sure these lugs are in the plastic tabs, and make sure it is shut before travelling with all the windows and skylights. Fly screen and blackout lights. Across from it, your bathroom door also acts as your bedroom door for privacy, and you've got a towel rail on there. You've got your shower, which always make sure the turnbuckles are turned to keep the shower screen held back when travelling, and remove your shower head and allow this hose to lie down when you are winterizing with all the mixer taps open. And then you've got a hanging rail there for wet towels, but it's also good if you've been caught walking the dog or out on a walk with the wet coats. Hang them in there and they'll drip dry. So now in the back of the vehicle you have your island bed. And to both sides you have your wardrobes with storage above the top of the bed, and a wardrobe on the other side with your fire extinguisher in there. So they just lock by pushing the catches in. You've got two individual reading lights which are individually switched on either side of the bed. Your switches are on that side, so you do have your switches for your lights and a 12-volt USB charging point, so it's a double USB. And then this little thing here is just your thermostat to see how hot the vehicle is. your bed does lift up, and underneath you've got your wheel pump. So if you are filling from a aqua roll, this part would go into the hose part, and then this is your power. So this is where you turn tank fill on and you drop that into a barrel, an aqua roll, and it will come out into the main tank. You've got a waste extension pipe. So if you can't get close to the gully or the grate, you'd put that on and you can decart your waste, and you've got blades in the back. So you've got some storage there and a mains 240 volt plug, and then your bed goes into day position, which it's in now, or you can just slide it out, and then as soon as you put some weight on there, it will drop down. So that will drop down, and then you can slide it up by just pushing the bed like so. And above the bed you've got your skylight. So similar to the bathroom one, you'd twist it and then slide it, and then twist up to put back in position. Fly screen and blackout blind. And that's the same with all skylights and windows, have fly screens and blackout blind. So to form the front lounge into a bed, what you need to do is use your table, slide it on the groove here, and slide it underneath the 2 bits of wood here into the groove. And then you would just simply pull this out, and there's a leg which folds down from underneath. And then you'd obviously remove this table, which I'll show you in a second, and you'd use the cushions. So you'd pull that forward, drop that one in the back, obviously remove the press studs from the cushions first, use the base cushions, and you've got this base cushion for the big seat. And then the backrests, use the smaller backrest of the two to go in here. And there you've formed just a little bit bigger than a single really, and then you drop this bed to any height. Your leisure battery lives underneath this seat, so if you just lift up underneath this cover in the bottom corner, you just lift that, and that'd be where your leisure battery lives. And underneath this seat is where your power supply unit lives. So you've got your system shutdown button there for stopping the power drain in the winter, but that will turn off the head unit as well. So if you were wanting to take the vehicle out, you wondered why the radio and reverse camera weren't working, because it's powered off here as well. You've got all your 12 volt fuses. Got your charger and heating and hot water on mains electric, and then in here you've got your RCD and MCB trips. So should you trip the vehicle out, try here before you try your main site. It would be a good idea to carry some spare blade fuses, and all your fuses are listed here on the back of what does what, so you can get the correct size fuses. And then you've got your build number, which is unique to each vehicle, so if you need any parts or a warranty claim, if you quote that number. And then to remove your boom arm table, you can unscrew this and it'll loosen it, and then you can slide the table round like so and hide it behind the driver's seat. Or if you want to remove it completely, you just loosen this, and then you can lift the leg out and put it in the wardrobe at the back. So now in the cab, so to the right of the driver you do have your handbrake. And then on the door you have your electric windows and electric mirrors, which is the top and the bottom, so there's 2 adjustments on each mirror. And then you've pinch, slide out, you've got your cab blinds on the side window of the driver and passenger. And then you can do, to black the windscreen out, you'd pinch, slide this out, slide the other one to meet, and they'll just clip in the middle on a magnet. To the right of the driver you do have your headlight adjustments and your rear fogs. trip computers on the end of the wiper stalk, which tells you travelling times, your instant and average miles per gallon, your fuel usage, your range, your distance travelled, your time travelled, and so on. Lights and indicators, cruise control on the top, which brings on the green light, and then you would just push up to set, cancel with the brake, and you can resume on the side, or cancel on the side. And then you've got a speed limiter, so push up and hold will go up in 5s, push up slowly slowly will go up in 1s. Mute, volume, scrolls through your contacts and radio channels, and your hands-free. 6-speed manual gearbox with up into reverse, which brings on your reverse camera. You've got traction control, turns that on and off. Hill descent control, forget about this, this is a manual, it doesn't need that, it's more for an automatic. Hazards, locks the doors, including the habitation door, and you've got your heated mirrors. USB for charging purposes only, and a 12 volt there. Cup holders. Temperature, so your temperature on the outside, fan speed on the in, must be on at least 1 or more for the aircon to work, which is this button here. And then you've got your distribution, so where you want it to go to, face, feet or screen, and whether you bringing fresh air in or recirculating air on the bottom. There's a USB there for your connectivity to your head unit, and to work your head unit you go to home, there's a GPS chip in the top, go to navigation, it'll load the navigation settings. Once it loads up and you've accepted all of your terms and conditions, it's a 3.5 ton motorhome. Next, finish, accept. You would then go to the left hand corner and press new route, and then you'd press address, and to put your postcode in you'd put on the second bar down, the one in the middle, and we're on Crook Creek Bank at the moment, that's where we're located, but you can put your postcode in there as well. Going to home, you've got radio, which is FM, DAB, which is DAB, so depending on what signal you can get, you go to list and you can find all your stations, so all of our tiny weird stations, national stations, so on, and you'd press preset, you can press 1 to 6 to save your favourite channels. Bluetooth, connect your phone, go to your phone settings, turn your Bluetooth on, and then it'll come up with here, press pair on here, pair on your phone, and then it'll ask you if you want to sync your contacts, press allow. Then if you wanted to stream your music, you can just press the music icon in the bottom right hand corner. Going further along, you've got your camera, which can be on permanently when you're driving forward to act as a rear view camera. And then you can go to your settings here, so if you did want to update the unit, it is a XF270, you go on the Accent website and you'd find the update, put onto a memory stick, connect the memory stick, and then you would go to other and you would load the software. So you may do this if it starts to get slow or glitchy. And you've got your audio, your screen and your camera settings there. Volumes here, and you turn on and off by pressing and holding. And you will need to turn this off once you've knocked the engine off, as this will then take a feed from the leisure battery, so do just make sure that you turn it off by pressing and holding.